Hey, well, it's 2 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started. I know we'll have some more people come in, as we're going here, but we'll go ahead and get started. We don't hold it up to everybody. So, as you guys know, our workshop has been being sponsored by EXP, and we wanted to introduce you guys to a couple of the key people in EXP, and one of them is here with us today. Vicky is the president of EXP Realty. And Vicky, would you like to say a couple of words? Hey, thank you. I really appreciate it. Well, we'll get started. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you guys are at. Guys, I'm so excited about this month. This is the month of August, and it's one of the most important months of the year. I really don't think we could have picked a better month to have gotten started with these programs and to be in a listing workshop. A lot of things happen at the end of August and the beginning of September, and I want to share those things with you. The number one thing is the summer's ending, and it's really hot outside. Who wants to show property in the month of August? The heat index here in South Carolina was 118 the beginning of this month. For all the big, busy agents out there that have been showing property constantly all summer, they're tired and they're ready for a break. This is the busy season. The summer is the busy season in most of the country, and August is also the month that agents start slowing down a little bit. A lot of them, they're tired. It's still hot. The kids are going back to school. They're trying to get in those last weeks of vacation, the last family trips and activities. This is also the month where everybody's schedules get completely turned upside down for 3 or 4 weeks. Agents with kids, they're going to start losing their momentum. They're not going to be able to get to the office as early because they got to get their kids ready for school. They got to get them on the school bus or dropped off. Their routines and schedule are going to completely change. So what you need to do is you need to have the most pig-headed discipline this month you can have, and you need to work like you're broke this month and the light bill's 2 weeks behind, because this is the month you're going to take over. You can double, triple, even 5 times your prospecting work, and you're going to get far, far more results than you would typically, because this is the month you can break through easy. Expireds aren't going to be getting as many calls. For sale by owners aren't going to be getting as many calls. The agents knocking on the doors, they're tired of the heat. Everybody's going to be taking a break except for you guys. All the agents that are normally calling in your market, they've got to deal with their kids and their kids' brand new school schedules. So you guys are in this great listing workshop, though. You just started your brand new schedule this week that we all created last week. You got your brand new listing package that's ready to go this week. And this month is the month that you're going to go out here and you're going to take market share and you're going to list more homes than you guys ever have before. Another thing we've got going on is September is the last month in the third quarter of the year. So for your yearly goals, right now we're at the make it or break it time. If you're a little bit behind, you still got some time to make it up. If you're a little bit ahead, that's great. You just keep going, but you cannot waste any time here in September. We're down to roughly about 120 days left of the year. But what you have right now, working in these last 4 months of the year, is you've got setup time for 2017. For me personally, I'm not thinking as much about 2016 as I'm thinking about 2017. These next 15 months and what do I want to do? The last 3 or 4 months of the year is what's going to set you up for 2017. Now, this year, if you're a little bit behind and you want to really step up your goals next year, you've got another chance to pick up a lot of ground for 2017, and that's going to be in November and December. Once Halloween's here, most agents are going to be in the mindset that they're just going to coast through the rest of the year. You got Halloween, then you got Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, and you have all these little family activities and parties and stuff you have to go to. So most agents just stop. But, this group, I already know this group that's we're doing this listing prep workshop with, you guys aren't like that. You guys are smarter and you guys are stronger. You know that you can rest in the spring when all the other agents are going to be killing themselves, dragging buyers around to show your listings that you got this last quarter of the year. I've always had the mindset that I can have 50 listings and they can all get shown today while I'm sitting at home in my pajamas. But if I had 50 buyers, I probably couldn't show them all property in the next week. So last week we talked about where you find your leads and where you find your lead sources. So hopefully all of you have picked out your lead sources. If you haven't figured that out, I think I posted this in the group. RedX is offering us some special package deals and they're waiving setup fees. If you call them directly and tell them you're in Jason Morris's group, they'll hook you up and they can tell you what their deals are. I also posted my recording of 28 places where you can find seller leads. Hopefully you guys have picked out a couple of places so you can show up to your office and you can just start making calls immediately. That way you don't have to think. The more you have to think before you start making calls, the less likely you're going to do it. I saw some of your schedules this past week, which is fantastic. With a schedule, your business is going to operate more like a business. You've got times you're open and times you've closed. Plus, you've set aside time to do, certain uninterrupted activities like prospecting. And I've seen a lot of pre-listing packages too. And hopefully, you guys, if you haven't got those together, hopefully you're getting them together. But this week we're going to talk about mindset, setting your goals, and we're going to talk about scripts. So let's start off with scripts. Scripts are one of my favorite things to talk to about agents, or talk to about with agents. For some reason, we're the only profession in the sales industry that our salesmen don't think we need to use scripts. Even doctors use scripts. When they're going in, they're doing heart surgery. They're not just getting in there and fiddling around and figuring things out. They have a script and a process that they're following. An exact list of questions and activities to perform the whole surgery. And we need to have these same scripts. We need to have the same dialogues, questions, and activities that we perform through the whole process of prospecting, setting an appointment, and taking a listing. As agents, we need scripts. Well, what you guys need is you need a script that you're comfortable with. There's a lot of trainers out there that are wanting to sell you scripts for crazy amounts of money, and they're telling you about these magic questions and all this stuff. But I've got news for you all. There's no magic question. You just need a script that you have confidence in. It has good questions and you have confidence in them. This confidence is going to shine through when you're on the phone. So what you need to do is you need to pick a script. I think I've already posted it in the group. I'll check, but if I haven't, I'll make sure that I've posted it. I use the same script for both expireds and for sale by owners. And the reason I use the same script is because really we're having the same conversation. But you need to pick a script and you need to stay with that script for at least 30 days before you make any changes to it at all. I see a lot of agents and a lot of agents I talk to that are on Facebook and they're in my group and other groups. They talk about how hard cold calling is and how hard it is to call expireds and for sale by owners. But then they've got 5 different scripts and they're using a different one every day of the week. What's going to happen when you start using this same script is you're going to start noticing you're going to get the same answers over and over to the same questions. After about 30 days, you're going to get really good at anticipating how people are going to answer the questions you're asking them. You're also going to get really good at overcoming the objections you're going to get because you're going to get the same objections over and over again. In 12 years of selling real estate and listing literally thousands of properties, I never hardly hear a new objection. The reason why you want to use the same script is because once you change your script, these agents that have 5 scripts and they're using a different one every day of the week, every time they change their scripts, they get new answers to the questions they're asking, and they start getting new objections that they have to learn over and over again, and they have to build that muscle again. They have to build their script muscle. So every new script has a new learning curve. Also, when you start going through these things, the questions that you're asking are going to get easier. The answers are going to get easier. You're going to start responding more confidently. You're going to start asking the questions in your script more confidently. And you want to sound as confident as possible when you can, especially over the phone. We'll talk more about this in a minute when we talk about mindset, but you never want to think again. You want to know. You don't want to tell sellers, I think we can sell your house. Instead, you want to say, hey, I know we can sell your house. I can sell your house. I can get it sold in this many days. I can get you this price for it. You want to stop thinking completely. Let me ask you a question. Let's say you're charged with a crime that you didn't do, and you want to hire an attorney, and the first attorney you go and talk to, he says, I think I can get these charges dropped. I don't want to hire that guy. I want to hire the attorney that's saying, yes, we can get these charges dropped, and here's what my plan is. The same thing with a doctor. If you have to have heart surgery, you don't want to hire the doctor that says he thinks he can fix you. You want to hire that guy that knows he can, plus he has a plan. You want to go into his office, have your initial consultation with him. You want him to lay it all out. Hey, this is how we're going to cut you. This is what we're going to do. We're going to do this and this and this. The recovery time is going to take 2 days. And this is what you need to do, and everything will work like this, and you're going to be brand new in 2 weeks. You want to hire the doctor to do your surgery that's confident. You don't want to hire the brand new guy that thinks he can fixes you. And that's what sellers want too. They don't want an agent saying, I think we can sell your home. They want an agent that is saying, yes, Mr. Home Seller, I can sell your house. This is my plan. Here's my pre-listing package. Here's how we market homes. This is how much you're going to walk away with after you sell your home with me. This is what's going to happen at the attorney's office. So you need to get really good with scripts. You need to practice them. Practice them by yourself. You can pick another agent. Facebook's great for finding script practicing partners with. Practice them with your spouse. The best practice you guys can have is actually calling sellers and talking to them about selling their house and actually using the script. But if you don't have somebody to practice with, look in Facebook groups. Make a post in my group, Real Estate Agents That Really Work, and you can find a script partner probably this afternoon. If you make a couple of posts in different groups, you can probably find a different partner for every day of the week if you want to. But the bottom line is you need to get really good on the phone. I know the number one best thing that you can do for yourself, your family, and your business is to get really good on the phone. You need to make the phone your best friend in the real estate business. I hear agents talk about how they only email clients. Those agents that tell you they never call buyers and sellers, they just work through email with them. Ask them how much business they're doing. In most cases, they're not doing very much. One thing I know for sure, if you're not calling your leads, there's another agent who will. So not only when using scripts is making the initial call important, you need to follow up, and you need to follow up like crazy. Most of the expired listings and these for sale by owners, they are going to hire a real estate agent, and they're going to write somebody a check for selling their home. You need to keep following up with them, especially the ones that are real motivated, and you need to make sure when they write a check, they're writing this check to you. Chet Holmes, he wrote this book, and I've talked to several of you guys about it. He wrote a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine. For those of you that don't know who Chet Holmes is, I'll tell you, I'm sure everybody knows who Warren Buffett is. He started Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway, or Warren Buffett, has a business partner named Charlie Munger. Charlie runs a lot of the businesses that Warren Buffett buys. Chet Holmes was the sales manager that handled the sales processes for Charlie Munger and Berkshire Hathaway. Most of the sales processes we actually find ourselves involved in when buying products and services for most Fortune 500 companies. They were originally designed by this guy named Chet Holmes. Okay, in Chet Holmes' book, The Ultimate Sales Machine, he says for luxury clients, they learned they had to follow up with these people a minimum of 6 to 8 times before the person used their services. Now, we're lucky because we don't have to guess. We already know that the service we're offering is to buy or sell the most expensive thing somebody will ever buy or sell. So we don't have to guess here. We already know that based on his book and based on the studies they've done, we need to follow up a minimum of 8 times. What Chet Holmes done with most of the companies he was working on their sales processes with, he designed a follow-up process to contact clients 15 to 17 times. You guys need to do the same thing. I posted the top 10 follow-up scripts that I use in our secret group, but you need to have constant, continuous follow-up with your sellers. You need to plan to make follow-up attempts based on their motivation, probably 1 to 2 times a week, sometimes more. Phone calls and emails are great follow-up tools. The biggest channel we have for communication right now that is completely unobstructed is text. Think about this. Everybody reads every single text they get. They at least look at the text. You need to call, email, and text your clients. Everything else in our life is obstructed. If you try to message them through Facebook, it's going to go into that little filter. LinkedIn is the same way. Email, it sends people to spam, or people, we get so much spam, most of us don't read half of our emails. Anyway, but you need to follow up, and you need to follow up like crazy. I want to share with you the system that I use for follow-up. I use a system that's very similar to what Chet Holmes lays out in his Ultimate Sales Machine book. In the book, Chet calls it his Dream 100 strategy. I think I told you guys about this last week. I am very low tech with my prospecting. The more difficult it is, the more likely I'm just not going to do it. I find it takes me more time to use a lot of the CRMs and databases that I really want to spend. So my number one follow-up tool is a notebook. When I get new leads through RedX or off Craigslist for sale by owners or whatever it is, I print out the leads, I print out the expireds, I print out the for sale by owners, especially the ones that fall in the certain niche in the area I really target, I've picked out for myself, and I make notes directly on the lead printout. So here's how the Dream 100 strategy works in the real estate business. The idea is that this is the list of 100 clients you want to do business with. I think of it as the top 100 people that will do business with me really soon. As you're making calls, a lot of the hot leads or warm leads, they go in your notebook and on your Dream 100 list. These are the people that you're following up with weekly or even twice a week. You've made the initial phone calls to feed your Dream 100 list. And your follow-up list you keep in your notebook or you keep in your printouts. These people need continuous follow-up, and one of three things happen. They're either going to sell their house, they're going to list their house with another agent, or they're going to die. And that's when you can quit calling them, is when they list with another agent or they die. This is the best and only follow-up system you're ever going to need. This Dream 100 list is going to change constantly. You're going to add people to it. People are going to fall off. People are going to get relisted. It's going to be really extremely difficult for you to get to 100 hot leads that want to buy or sell with you today. All these people that go on this list, they're people that they're ready to write a check to a real estate agent to sell their house. This agent needs to be you. This Dream 100 list and your follow-up list, all these people represent money. You just need to go out there and get it. Follow-up is where the money's made. I cannot spend enough time stressing to you how important making the initial call, using a script, and follow-up is. We could have talked about scripts the entire day. But I want to make sure you guys get as much value in every single day as possible. And, of course, these are recorded, and you can go back and listen to them. And we'll post supporting stuff, in the group too. But the next thing I want to talk to you about is goals. I'm going to tell you guys a simple strategy for setting goals. I created a video, and it'll be posted in the group, and a lot of you have seen it. It's called How to Make $1 Million Selling Real Estate. For most of us, we don't need to make $1 million. Most of us, myself included, I'm not doing enough work to make $1 million a year selling real estate, but it's a basic idea on how to break down your numbers so that you know what you'll have to do to hit your goals. Most of the agents I know or I talk to, they're just trying to figure out how to support themselves financially, but most of them have never looked at their goal and really broke it down and figured out what the numbers were. So let's start off with what you need to do to make. I'd like for everybody to post their goal in the group. How much money do you want to make next year? You don't have to post how you came up with this number, but we're going to talk about how you can come up with this number. You need to figure out what your bills are each month. And you need to be honest with yourself. If you're spending $200 at Starbucks every month, you need to make sure that's in your budget, because you need to make sure you can afford it. How much is your rent or mortgage? How much is your light bill, your cable bill, office expenses, marketing expenses, car payment? Add everything up and don't lie to yourself. We lie to ourselves when adding up our bills. I even do it because I don't want to come to the realization on how much money I spend on stupid stuff sometimes. usually when you're honest with yourself, you're going to realize this number is probably more than what you think it is. Now you need to add in to this number, how much money do you want to put in the bank each month? How much do you want to put in a retirement account? How much EXP stock do you want to buy? Whatever you want to put aside, then add anything else you want into this number too. Do you want a new car? Do you want a new house? Do you want to go on a trip somewhere? Something special you would like to have for yourself the next year. If you want to take your kids to Disney World, put it in there, because I'm going to show you in just a second how to reach that goal and make that happen. Now, add up those things and how much money you need to make in the next year. You need to figure it all up. So let's just say for the purpose of this, to make things easy, is Matt is on top of things. He needs to sell 19.2 million next year, 19 deals. Good for you, man. You can do it. So, but for this class and this workshop, we're going to make the math really easy so you guys can follow along. Let's just say this amount is $100,000. Now, let's say your average transaction is $2,500 commission to yourself. So that would mean you need to close 40 transactions to make $100,000 next year. From coaching and personal production, I've found a conservative number for the percentage of your listings that will sell is 65%. So you need to plan. For the purpose of goal setting, you need to plan 65% of your listings will sell. So to sell 40 properties from listing properties, we need to list more than 40. So what you need to do is you need to divide that 40 by 65, and you'll roughly get that you need to list 61.5 homes next year. So really you need to list 62 homes because we can't list a half a house, But you need to list 62 houses to be able to actually sell, for 40 of those houses to sell. So when we break it down a little bit further, 62 homes, you need to list a minimum of 5 homes per month. This is only 1.25 homes per week to hit your goal of $100,000 in income. Me and Chris Johnson's in here, and we were talking about this the other day, to get to 8 listings a month. Let's just say 50% of them sell. So to get 1 closing a week, roughly, you only need to list 8 a month. Now, one thing I've learned too is you're typically going to sell 0.9 to 1.1 homes per listing you take. So because all these listings, you're going to have all these signs. You're going to list 60 properties next year. You're going to have 60 signs out there somewhere in the world. There's going to be 60 properties, on Zillow and Trulia and all these different websites. You're going to get buyer calls. You're going to get emails, calls off signs, calls off your internet syndication. So if you go out and list 62 homes next year and you follow that formula, 0.9 to 1.1 homes you'll sell per listing, you're going to sell 40 homes without a doubt. This is a foolproof plan. If you do this, if you set your goal the way I just told you, you're going to sell 40 homes next year. Let's break these numbers down a little bit more to figure out what activities you need to do, because I don't want you to set a goal and then not know how to get to that goal. So last week we talked about needing to talk to roughly 20 people to set one solid listing appointment. So we talked to 20 people to set one solid listing appointment. That means that you really need about 3 listing appointments to get 2 listings. So you'll need to talk to roughly 60 people to get 3 appointments. So 30 conversations, with this math, 30 conversations is going to get you 1 listing. So, and this is 30 people that actually pick up the phone and talk to you. What I find here is when I call expireds, for sale by owners and withdrawals, I get 1 person on the phone for about every 7 or 8 calls I make. So after you make calls for 30 days and you track your numbers, you'll be able to figure out your own numbers, and 1 out of 7 or 1 out of 8 answering the phone, that might be low, that might be high for you. But when you track your numbers, you'll be able to come up with you'll be able to come up with your number, and you'll be able to adjust some for this. But for today, we're using my numbers because that's the only ones I know. So 8 dials, calling 8 numbers is roughly going to get me 1 person. So to get 1 listing, I roughly need to make 240 dials, which 8 times 30. Remember, we only need to talk to 30 people to get one listing. So the list, so really we need to talk to 30 people to get one listing. So 240 dials is going to get me one listing. So, and I need 62 of those. So I need to call 240 people times 62 listings. Over the course of the year, I'm going to make roughly 14,880 calls to get my goal. That's about 1,240 calls a month. We're going to divide that by 22 working days a month. And, let's pretend we're not going to work on the weekend. We're only going to call Monday through Friday. This means we need to make 56 or 57 calls a day, which is really easy. That means you guys need to prospect roughly about an hour to an hour and a half a day, depending on how many calls and how many numbers you can go through. So let's recap. You have your lead sources already set up. You have your pre-listing appointment package. You have the scripts and the follow-up systems that I'm going to put in the group. Now you're working on getting your goals set. Now to reach those goals, to make $100,000 a year at $2,500 per transaction, all you need to do is make 57 calls every workday. Even if we double this number, you're only making 114 calls a day per workday. The key to this is to be extremely consistent. Some days everybody's going to answer the phone and everybody's going to love you. Then some days everybody sucks and they're going to be mean and they're going to hang up the phone with you. But what you need to do is you need to just keep reviewing your goals and just stay your course. That's the most important thing. Be consistent. With consistent calling, you're going to get a consistent amount of people on the phone. You're going to set a consistent amount of appointments, and you're going to take a consistent amount of listings, which hopefully they're going to consistently sell when you get enough of them. The last thing we're going to talk about today is mindset. This is the most important thing you guys can do. And I feel like this is most of the battle with listing a lot of properties and doing a lot of business. It's your mindset. I posted my recording about how to get in state using music. If you can control the state of your mind and your emotions, you can control your life. I'll make sure I posted this in our group too, so you can see it. I know I posted it in my other group. But if you can control your emotions and you can control the state of your mind, you can control your performance. You can control what time, and you can practice getting yourself into peak state to make calls and practice getting yourself in the right frame of mind. I know some of you use the Miracle Morning method, and it's very similar to Tony Robbins. I like Tony Robbins, but listen to the video I posted. My biggest listing weeks, I was listening to Waka Flocka and 2 Chainz on the way to the office every morning. So I'm going to give you 7 things here that's going to help you build your mindset. These are things you can start doing immediately. In addition to the strategy and the recording, I strongly believe you're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with and the 5 people that you talk to the most. You guys are all in a turning point in your business. And a lot of the things I'm talking about with you, they're not normal in a lot of offices, especially to unproductive agents and agents that have never really done a lot of production and they've been in the business for a long time. A lot of agents don't think it's normal to list 5 properties a month. In the month of June, I listed 22 properties. Before the end of the year, what my goal is, I just switched offices, moved over to EXP, and at the end of the year, starting January, I want to have as close to 100 listings as I possibly can. And this isn't a normal amount of business to do. So here's some of the things that you guys need to do to make to be able to develop this mindset to do a lot of production. Number 1, you need to truly believe that you are the most important person in the world. This business and this life is yours. You need to look at the office you're in, look at the people you're around, and make sure that you're in a place of growth. An office that wants everybody to succeed. A place that believes in abundance, not scarcity. There's a lot of offices that are out there, and there are agents that are so secretive over what they're doing. If you look at just this group, I think there's 5 people in it that are in my market. And I know there's enough business out there. There's enough business in Myrtle Beach that the 5 of us cannot do it all. Even if you take everything I'm telling you and you copy me 100%, we are probably going to not really compete with each other. There's just so much business out there. If you're not in a positive work environment, you need to find one or you need to create one, because this is going to be crucial. You need to be in a positive place that believes the numbers and your goals are possible and they will support your goals. You know, number two, you need to look at your family and friends. And this is the hardest thing, and I might step on some toes here. You know, if they are negative or they're negatively talking about your business, you need to avoid these people. I'm not going to say never talk to them again, but limit your time with them. A negative attitude is just contagious, and but a positive attitude is contagious too. One of the greatest stories, I had family members that would tell me, how hard the real estate business is and how it didn't work out for this person, it didn't work out for that person, and it's been 13 years, it's worked out pretty good for me. But if you hear that stuff about how bad things are over and over again, even when the market was on fire in 2006, there was agents at the office I was at talking about how bad the market was. Man, you could walk outside and say, "Hey, my house is for sale," and you'd have a contract the next day. Number three, look for agents and people that are doing more business than you, and surround yourself with these people. Even if they aren't in your market, look for these people through Facebook. Sooner or later, you're going to start going, "Man, these guys are crushing it, and I can do more than what I'm doing." Being around successful people with positive attitudes, it spreads. But negative people, it's like chicken pox. When you're a kid, negative people with more poor mindsets, that spreads. Be careful who you're hanging out with. One of the reasons I switched offices was I kept talking to this guy, Rob Flick and Gene Frederick, which, if you guys don't know who they are, these are two of the biggest money-making guys of all time within the Keller Williams network. They moved over to eXp Realty, and they just kept talking to me about it and telling me how I could train agents and I could build a team across the country. And through my conversations with them, I developed this huge vision, and I kept saying to myself, I could be doing more, and I could be doing more with the coaching and training and stuff I was doing, and I wanted to positively impact as many lives as I possibly could. So I've had a lot of you message me thanking me for doing this program for you, but these two guys, Gene Frederick and Rob Flick and Lisa Lamborghini, these are the people you guys need to thank for this workshop. Without them, I would have never had the vision to do this and to use this technology to do a program like this and be able to offer it for no cost to you guys. But being around those successful people, you're going to all of a sudden think, "Wow, I can do more, and I want to do more," and it's going to positively impact you. Number four, focus on personal growth for yourself. Read books, find motivational speakers to listen to. YouTube's full of them. Some of my favorite people, I like Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, I like Grant Cardone. I mean, there's a ton of people out there. Number five, you need to write your goals down. You need to keep them with you. You need to review them weekly. You need to track them. Whenever you think about adding something to your business or taking something away from your business, you need to look and think about how is that going to positively or negatively impact your goals. So number six, when you're building a strong mindset, you need to get enough sleep. I think this is really important and something nobody ever really talks about. When you're tired and you're worn out, you're going to start doubting yourself, and it's going to be easier to say, "I'm tired this morning, I don't want to go make my calls," or "I'm tired this morning, I'm not going to prepare as much for this listing appointment. I'm just going to wing it," And when you're tired and you don't get enough sleep, it affects your mindset. It does mine dramatically. Number seven thing you can do is, I want you guys to go listen to the 5-minute video I done where I talked about, the music that I listen to in the morning. I'll post it in the group. I want you all to come up with your morning pre-call soundtrack, 5 songs or 3 songs that make you feel like you're just ready to go in the morning, ready to make calls. It's going to help you with the state that you're in. How about this? I'm going to post 3 to 5 of mine for my playlist, and if you guys want to post yours, that's great too. But the bottom line with all this, the whole class and everything, is that millions of people are looking to buy and sell homes this year. They're the biggest investments of their lives. where you live has the biggest impact on your life and your family. These people are trusting all of you to help them with that. And you guys are the best people for that job. You have a plan to sell their house, and it's your pre-listing package you created. You need to build this mindset and have confidence in your plan. If you don't have confidence in the plan you're telling them about, they're not going to have confidence in this plan either. You know, I'm going to tell you guys the plan that I'm giving you through these listing workshops. This plan works. I've been doing the same plan over and over for 12 years, and I know that all of you can do this. That 57 calls a day that we talked about a few minutes ago. I know that if I go out there and I make 57 calls a day and I talk to people every day, that will make me $100,000 in the next year. So I know today this was a lot of information to go over. What I'd like for you guys to do this week is I'd like for you to post your goals in the group. How many properties do you want to sell in the next year? How much money you want to make? You can do this. You have a plan. Break down your numbers. If you need help breaking them down, message me and we'll talk about it. I'll try to help you figure out how many calls you need to make, how much time you need to prospect, and what you need to do to get your goals. So I've been talking for about 36 minutes here. So we've got about 20, 25 minutes for questions. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir. Um, I never liked door knocking. I joke and say it's because I'm lazy, but the reality of the difference between door knocking and phone calls is, man, it's going to take you like 3 minutes. I mean, if nobody's home, it's going to take you 2 or 3 minutes to get between, two doors. If somebody is home, it's going to take you 5, 10 minutes. And two, you're knocking on doors that aren't truly, are you just knocking on all the doors in the neighborhood? I probably should ask that. Yeah. Yeah. Man, I'm a big believer in working on things that's going to give me the most impact. And I feel like if I'm sitting in an office, banging out calls on the phone, and I'm truly calling expireds, withdrawals, and for sale by owners, those people I feel like are warm leads versus knocking on all the doors in the neighborhood. You're knocking on. I mean, it's the equivalent of going down, making calls and going down the phone book. If I were you, I would, maybe try it for 30 days and figure out what's best for you. But I would not door knock. I would just make calls because you're going to be able to cover a lot more ground and talk to more people. And two, it's going to be a lot easier for you to focus on people that actually at least wanted to sell their house at some point. They at least were, maybe it expired off MLS or was withdrawn, or it was a for sale by owner. Even if it's an old for sale by owner, at least 6 months or a year ago they actually wanted to sell their house. Yeah, yep, that's right. You can do that through calls. Door knocking, even if your door knocking just expires, man, it takes so much time to go between, expires. I mean, if you're gonna door knock expires, you almost need to pick almost like a 5 mile radius around your house or or office. That way, you're just focusing on a small area because it takes so much time to get between those houses. I would make calls, man. I think that's going to be the biggest impact for your time. Let's see. How do you get to know the market, and how do you find time to preview houses? Um, the thing that I would do to get to know my market, Samantha, and is I would do a market analysis. Have you ever heard of that? I'll I'll tell you guys what it is, because it seems like whenever I talk to a lot of agents about it, they've never actually done it for their market. What you do is you want to make a spreadsheet. Across the top, you're going to put a price ranges like 0 to 50,000, $50,000 to 100,000, 100 to 150. So you got the price ranges across the top, and then down the side, what you're going to have is the areas of your market. So you break your market up into areas, whether it's municipalities or areas in your MLS. I mean, like I'm in Myrtle Beach. I'm in the Myrtle Beach market. So when I done mine, I broke it up into different areas of Myrtle Beach, like Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, Garden City, Surfside, Conway. And you want to look at the solds from the last year, and you want to start plugging those numbers into it. And what you're going to find is the market may be different than what you think. I mean, um, what I learned in my market was this was about a year and a half ago, maybe, but 78% of my market was under $175,000, and over 50% was under 100,000. So what I did was I started really targeting my prospecting around these certain areas that were just hot pockets and certain price ranges. So I mean, I know I know when I hey, thanks Chris for coming, but I know like when I go out to Conway and I look at listing a mobile home that's on an acre of land for 85,000 that's in good shape, I know that I'm going out there and I know that house is going to sell in 30 days. So when you break it down in a spreadsheet so you can actually look at it, it's going to make a lot of difference for you, and it's going to help you learn the different areas of your market. Other than that, previewing houses, that's tough. I don't really preview houses anymore, just because I've been in my market for 13 years, and a lot of our neighborhoods were built by big builders like Beazer and D.R. Horton, so a lot of them are cookie cutter, and all the houses look the same. But what I would do is just start, say when you're going to a listing appointment, maybe you pick, take 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after, and look at it. Yeah, Denise, message me afterwards through Facebook, and we'll set up a time. But message, maybe plan 30 minutes before the appointment, 30 minutes after. Look at a couple of houses in the neighborhood. Drive through some neighborhoods. I mean, I think that's the best way to kind of learn and get to know the market. Learn one area really well and then kind of move to another one. That kind of works for me, at least. I mean, I know the south end of our market way better than the north end, but does that kind of answer your question? Um, Peter, EXP. I'll answer a couple of questions. I don't want to take up too much time on EXP and what it is. We can talk about it through Facebook, or we can set up a call. But EXP is actually a national company, and what they've done is they've actually taken all of the operations. They've taken all the operations portion of the business, and they're operating in a cloud. So, like all the people that are processing paperwork, all the people that are there for tech support, or basically your administrative people you'd normally walk in an office and see, they're actually spread out. They're actually in a cloud, so you can go in a 3D environment just like this and talk to them. So they are in most every market. They're one of the fastest growing companies in the country, and I'm more than happy to talk with you more about it if you'd like. Just send me a message and we'll set up a time. So Denise, you wanted to know more about follow up. Sometimes like after that second, third call with follow up, you have to start getting really creative. Um, I like to follow up around holidays, like say 4th of July, the week before 4th of July. I was following up with people going, "Hey guys, this is Jason Morris. We've been talking about you getting your house on the market. I just wanted to call you. July 4th is this weekend. There's going to be a lot of people out of town and a lot of people off work. I wanted to call you and see if you're ready for me to get started working for you, because I don't want you to miss a buyer, because there's going to be a lot of buyers looking this weekend." So you got to get really creative on how you follow up sometimes. Sometimes it almost sounds dumb, but oh yeah, Beverly, I'll post some follow up scripts in the secret group. But you want to get it almost sounds dumb. Like I had guys that I was following up with for weeks and weeks where I would just send them a text message. They'd never answer my phone call or never call me back. But I could send them a text message that just said, "Hey, this is Jason Morris from eXp Realty. Just wanted to follow up with you. Are you ready to get your house on the market? Are you ready for me to start working with you? I know you said you wanted to sell your home before the kids went back to school. What's going on with that?" Or, when you're calling these people and you're doing the initial script, hopefully you picked up on some level of motivation on why they want to sell, and you can keep following up based on that motivation they gave you. A lot of people, if they're older, they may be moving because they, hey, I've got a new grandkid being born in September. I want to be able to be closer to them, or I've got family that have moved here and I want to be closer. Whatever their motivation is, a job starting, or people moving jobs, that's fantastic motivation because lots of times they're moving for a job, and they can't really afford to not move for that job. So they can't afford two houses or a mortgage and rent somewhere else. So look for motivation and follow up based on that motivation and get really creative. And text is a great way to follow up. If you realize they're not answering the phone for you anymore, start texting them. Sometimes, all of us are busy, and sometimes people just don't want to deal with, they don't want to deal with you, and or they're just too busy. They work during the day or whatever it is, and they can't really give you a phone call, but they can text you back. So I hope that helps you. Did that really answer your question or help some? Thanks. Beverly, I've got the top 10 follow-up scripts I use. I think I've posted them in the files section already in the Lisa and Jason workshop group. I'll check and make sure after the call, and if they're not in there, I'll make sure that we add them in there. And no problem. So you guys have any other questions? Anything you want to talk about? Any questions about setting your goals? Do I ever drop off pre-listing packages in person? I don't typically drop them off in person. I set mine up in a PDF so that I could just email it. And email's usually the best way. If for some reason they don't have an email, I will mail mine out. But I just do that because I try to save as much time as possible anywhere I can, and I try to get it to them the easiest way possible. If they're close by, if you're driving 45 minutes, one way to the appointment, I wouldn't drop it off in person. But if they're, right around the corner, 5-10 minutes down the road, I would drop it off, put it in an envelope, drop it off on their front doorstep or stick it in their door. That way, you got it. When you're following up with people, you want to make sure they've looked at it. I typically say I set an appointment with you today and I sent you, sent you over my pre-listing package. My first follow-up after I've sent that package is, hey, I want to make sure you got the email I sent you. And typically, it's just a text. And usually they will text you back right away. Yes, I got it, or no, I didn't. And if they didn't, you try to figure out how to get it to them. But, you want to make sure they got it. You want to make sure they looked over it. So if I dropped it off in person, I would almost prefer to drop it off on their doorsteps and run back to my car. That way you can call them the next morning and just go, "Hey, Mr. Seller, this is Jason Morris. I dropped off some information about me and my team on your doorstep, and I want to make sure that you got it and that you've looked over it, because you want to confirm with them several times that they've actually looked over that because even they're going to see your whole plan. So then when you actually meet with them, there's not going to be a reason to actually go through a real marketing plan. They already know what you're going to do. But Henry, posting your goals, if you just want to post it in the timeline of the listing workshop with Lisa and Jason, if you just want to post it in the timeline, that'd be great. And or Lisa, if you want, we can actually make a post. Say something like, "What is your goals?" and everybody post it under there, so it's a little more organized and easy to see what everybody's is. So, Megan, 57 calls. Well, if you're getting one answer for every person that you're calling, or you're getting one answer for every 8 people you're calling, that's where I got the 57 from. So I get one person to answer for about every 8 people I actually call. So that's where that come from. Your numbers may be a little bit different, but that's actually 57 dials. So let's see, Beverly, when you're on a pre-listing call and you get to the point of setting an appointment, and their rebuttal is, "I've talked to 4 other realtors. What will talking to you do for me?" Well, I'm talking to you about selling your house. You need to come up with a way to overcome that objection. And a great way is, "Hey, my office sold X number of houses last week. I am only calling you because I can sell your house." Make sure that you're real confident. You know, those 4 other realtors, you need to develop the mindset. Those 4 other realtors, it doesn't matter who they were, and but they're not as good as you, and they're yeah. So you need to develop that they're not as good as you, and that you are better than them, and your plan is better than them, and you actually have a plan. Have those 4 other realtors sent them a pre-listing package, and probably they haven't. So talking to you is going to be one step closer to them getting their home sold, and you just need to be really confident when you tell them what you're going to do for them. So that helps. Do I exclude do not call numbers when calling? Rosie, I call everybody. I mean, the do not call list is okay. My understanding is it has not been updated in quite some time. But here's the thing: if you call somebody and they say, "Hey, Rosie, I'm on the do not call list. Don't call me back." It's real easy. You just mark them off your list and you don't call them back. If you start looking into I don't want to get into the legalities of the do not call list because I'm not an attorney or anything, but I do know that one of the qualifications is for that person, for you to be able to turn that person in for them to get fined, you must have documented that you gave them a warning and you notified them that you're on the list. And I would just take those people, the people that are mean, or they tell you they're on the list and they don't want you to call them back, just don't call them back anymore. It's really just that simple. But I would call everybody. For sale by owners, they're advertising their phone number. So even if they're not on the do not call list, it doesn't matter. They actually are giving the public their phone number to call. The expireds, you're calling them about a house that they wanted to sell. So I wouldn't be real concerned about that. But if they tell you don't call them back, or they tell you they're on the list, just, take that lead from your stack and throw it away. There's plenty of other people to call. Does that answer that question, or does that help? I know I've been asked that question a couple of times here lately. So guys, we got time for another couple of questions. Does anybody have anything they'd like to talk about, or do I suggest sitting for other listings, open houses? Megan, I know there's a lot of agents doing business in open houses. I would only do an open house if you're going to do some sort of other marketing to support it, like Matt mentioned, knocking on doors. If you're going to go knock on all the doors of the community like the day before, put out flyers inviting them to your open house, those are probably worth doing. I'm not a big fan of open houses, but if you're going to do them, what you want is you want to get as much of the community to come to the house as possible because you want to meet those people. And there'll be a lot of people. If you knock on all the doors and you put out flyers in the neighborhood, typically you'll have people coming to look at the house you're doing the open house at. They'll be looking at that house because they're thinking about selling theirs and they're kind of curious about prices. So it is, they can be great ways to find listings. In our market, we just don't see a lot of buyers going to open houses anymore. Everybody, if they're looking for a property for sale or looking for property in the community, they just pull it up on their iPhone or their phone or their tablet or whatever, and they actually search the internet. They don't really, I don't believe people drive around like they used to, looking for property. I think most of their searches start online. So if it was me, I wouldn't do open houses for other people. But if you want to do open houses and you want to knock on all the doors and kind of introduce yourself to the community, I think you can get some benefit in that. Hey, no problem. No problem. Guys, I really appreciate all of you guys being here today. Um, you know, I'll post some stuff here in the group this week, and if there's anything I can help you guys with, you have any questions from today's workshop, I know it was a lot of information we went over. Just send me a message, and I'll try to help you. And this wraps up workshop day number 2. Thanks, guys. You guys have a great week. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks, Megan. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.